Hello everybody, and thanks for clicking on the video and watching the channel. If you're enjoying the video, please leave a like and hit subscribe. And my name is Aporiak, and I post gaming content because it's fun to do. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about 15 beginner tips for Rainbow Six Siege. I got into this game again. I've really loved this game ever since it came out. And I want to help people get into it more, get really get into this game, and maybe help them out a bit, depending on if they like the tips or not. So yeah, we're gonna get that underway. So tip number 1 is to use your drone before entering rooms. So you have 2 drones. You have one at the start and then one in the middle of the game whenever you want to use it. If you're on attack and you're wanting to entry a point, I highly recommend to throw the drone, check the corners, check the sidelines, get off the drone, get in, maybe pick the drone back up if you have time to check your next corners. That's what I would recommend, is to use the drone to your advantage. Tip number 2 would be to learn the maps. So each map, as you can see, is going to have 3 or 4 different areas that you're going to defend. So you don't have to learn the map all at once. You just have to learn each area, their callouts, and how you can communicate where you died, where you hear them coming from, where they're at, what window, what staircase, and all that. So that would be tip number 2. Tip number 3, and I think this is one of the most crucial parts for Rainbow Six Siege, and tip number 3 would be to use the sound of the game to your advantage. So the sound in this game, you can hear footsteps, you can hear drones, you can hear gadgets, you can hear defensive walls being put up and taken down. You can hear about everything that goes on if you're close enough to where they are at. So I would recommend to use that to your advantage. Maybe play with a headset just to get more intel on where they're coming from and get that sound working for you. So, use the sound to your advantage is tip number 3. Tip number 4, we're going to communicate with your team. Communication is a very key part of this game. You want to know where they're coming from, where they're going, where they're shooting from, and you want to be able to communicate that to your team. And this goes hand in hand with learning the maps. Learning the maps would help to communicate better with your team. You can also use the little compass at the bottom if you don't know callouts just yet. Just be like, hey, I was in east corner room with the couch and I got killed from the window. And then they'll find the room with the couch and check the window. That's what I would do. So communicate with the team. Tip number 5 would be to use your gadget effectively depending on your operator. So if I'm Frost, I want Frost plates on choke lines. If I'm Jaeger, I want my defense system on windows and entry points. If I'm Capcam, I want my stuff on entry points. If I'm playing Warden, I want to make sure that if they throw smokes or flashes, that I'm there for the team and can see through them and get the team safety. So use the gadget effectively depending on the operator. Like if you're mute, don't put your mute just in the random middle of the floor. Either put it on choke points to keep drones from entering or on walls to keep attack gadgets from coming in. That would be tip number 5. Tip number 6 is to use the drone. Again, we're going to use drones and more drones. Is to use the drones to gather intel. So if you're checking corners with the drone and there's someone, scan them so we know who they are, we know where they were, and all that. If you can get the drone into the point again and get more information on where they're sitting and where they're coming from, then great, do that. Help the team out. Use the drone. But don't constantly use the drone. Be an effective drone user to where you can be on the drone and get on point or defend the point. Because cameras are basically drones. But anyways, number 7. Tip number 7 would be know when to be aggressive and know when to be passive. So know your operator, know how they play. If it's a more defensive like Jaeger, or if it's a more aggressive, if you're playing on defense, like Caveira, or Knock on offense is more aggressive, and Ace is more aggressive. Stuff like Line's a little bit more defensive, because you're getting that information for your team. So yeah, just know like if someone gets a pick or two, that you can sort of run in and help them make sure a third one's not coming. If you get a pick or two, you can be like, hey, I got two, let's see what we can do with that. Like move to the picks and move to your advantage with operators. So number 8 also depends on two operators, really. Caveira and Nook, you can't really stick with a team. That's not what they're made for. But 90% of the other operators, you want to stick with the team, and you want to help them either defend the point or get on the point. So stick with your team, stick with your team, stick with your team. I think it's very important that we all guard the point together, or we all entry at the same time in separate entry points, and just overwhelm the defending forces there. So number 9, I think is a very important one as well. It's to learn from the mistakes. Like if you mess up, if you're in a bad spot, you get headshot, and just because you're in a bad spot, you die. Not because you failed to win a gunfight, but maybe because you're in a bad spot, or one of their gadgets got you, or you're putting reinforced walls in the wrong place. You can replay matches, and you can learn from those mistakes and watch them back to make sure that nothing that you're doing is like ruining the experience for your team and for yourself. So yeah, just learn from the mistakes. Don't take them to heart. It's not life or death, but if you're wanting to get better at the game, I would recommend to learn better. Maybe ask teammates, hey, what can I do to help more? Where should I be? What's a good choke point? And maybe some people in Rainbow Six will help you out, you know what I'm saying? So number 10, and I think this is pretty straightforward for any FPS video game, is to aim for the head. Now, my aim's not great at all, okay? So I try to aim for the head, and sometimes I don't get it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, aim for the head. You can use the recoil of the gun to get up to the head eventually. Depending on the gun, if you're aiming at like the chest, you can get to the head pretty quickly. But some people in this game will just one-tap you in the head and make you dead. So practice that crosshair placement, where if they're crouched, or if they're standing, if they're prone, just make sure that you got the good crosshair, you know where they're coming from, and you can take those choke points to your advantage. So point number 11 is about planting and defusing the bomb. You don't want to plant the bomb in a corner that you can't defend as an attacker easily, and you don't want to defuse a bomb out in the open as a defender if it's like 3v1 and it's you against 3 of them. You want to maybe try to winnow some of those numbers down, maybe trick them to think you went somewhere else, and just play a little passive until you can pick some of those numbers down, and then maybe touch the bomb, make one of them peek, get them, and then maybe touch the bomb again. And if you're on attack and you're planting the bomb, maybe plant it in front of a window. That way you can sit outside and watch it from outside, and you don't have to be in with the whole enemy team. Just make sure you think about where you're putting the bomb and where you're defusing the bomb from. So number 12 is about this game's destructive environment, and you can use that to your advantage. Floors, ceilings, walls, basically a lot of things, unless it's brick or concrete, can be destroyed in this game. So you want to use that to your advantage. If you're playing views, maybe come in from the ceiling. If you're throwing a grenade, maybe hit it on the floor or the ceiling. That way you can see through. Come from the roof with the floor panels. Come from random holes in the walls. And use the destructive environment to the advantage of your team, and to help hold choke points, or to help entry on the point faster and more effective. So number 13, and this goes hand in hand with being aware of the maps, is to watch your angles. Always be aware of each and every angle when you're moving throughout the map. Make sure that you're able to see around corners before they can see around the corner. Make sure you can look into the window without getting shot before they're going to notice that you're there. Just always be watching the angles and the corners. So number 14 is going to be operators and how you use them. So you don't want to get stuck playing one operator on attack and one operator on defense. If that operator gets countered, you want to be able to change into a different operator and hopefully get a better counter on the enemy team. So if you're playing Fuse and there's just some godly Jaeger that's just ruining your life, or maybe mute and you can't put your Fuse on it, maybe switch to Thatcher and get rid of those mutes for your other team to be able to entry on the point using Ace, Thermite, Ash, or Hibana. So I think that'd be a very important factor, is to don't get attached to just one or two operators. Be versatile, learn the game, learn the operators, and you'll be able to help the team much better and faster. So point number 15 is to practice, practice, and practice. So the more you play this game, the more you're going to know the maps. The more you're going to know crosshair placement, gun mechanics, operator gadgets, operator mechanics, the speed, armor, and health of each operator is going to be different. So how fast each operator moves is different depending on if they're 1, 2, or 3. The armor is 1, 2, and 3. Health is 1, 2, and 3. So it all just depends on which operator you're currently playing and trying to get. So make sure that you practice, that you know the game, you know the mechanics, and just hop into some matches. Play some different few operators each match. Get to know them. Get to see which guns you like better, which feel you like better. Do you like subs? Do you like assaults? Do you like the marksmen? Do you like using the snipers? And fill the game out for yourself. Fill each scope out, because there's a lot of different scopes in the game that you can switch interchangeably on every gun, and to find the one that's your favorite, the one that helps you hit your target each time. Just practice. But yeah, that was tip number 15. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe and tell someone to have a wonderful day. And I hope to catch you on the next one. Again, my name's Aporiak, and I make gaming content. So if you enjoy, please leave a sub. Thank you, and